Hi, I'm Stephen Ham from Archery Supplies, and today we're looking at the Gearhead B34. So it's 34 inches axle. Brace height's adjustable from 5¼ to 7 inches in brace height. Shoots at 337 feet per second, adjustable from 26 to 32 inches in draw length with rotating modules. It has draw stops here on the cams, which hit the limbs. Now the limbs are a little bit different. So standard limb that you see on all bows, but they're covered in rubber. So that's a little bit different than normal bows. And the Gearhead bow is a little bit different in lots of ways. So if you want to convert this bow from left-handed to right-handed, you take the grip off, you turn it around, and it's a left-handed bow. That simple. Pretty cool. It has multiple spots where you can fit the stabilizer positions down here, and you can probably move this up or down, I'm guessing, because you've got generally different spots where you can move it to. I'm pretty sure you could buy this and fit it to the back here for a back position. There's all little screw holes here so you can mount stuff. Rotating modules, this here is your draw stop here, so you can move this backwards and forwards to change the lead off. It weighs 4.7 pounds. It looks different. Now, I reviewed the other gearheads behind me. I reviewed the B36 before. I thought it was a B34. This is the B34. The hand grip's different. The hand grip on the B36 is straight up and down, more target-like. This is more like of a pistol grip. Now, when you move the grip in or out, you move this in or out as well to hit the string stop. My friend in America, God, I think he's in America, and he said you pronounced my name wrong. It should be ammo, and I pronounce it ammo or whatever. Anyway, so he pointed out all this stuff to me. When I do videos, people are like, no, you should have said this, you should have said that. So it's on a middle string stop here, string post. So this here increases or decreases the poundage of the bow. So moving it longer to this post here will increase 5 pounds. Moving to the shorter one will decrease the poundage. Now, what Ammo said, sounds funny. He was like, why's my name funny? We don't have any ammos in Australia. I've never seen an ammo in Australia. I've seen every other name, I think, but it's just different. And that's cool. Different is cool. But he said moving it here makes it more like a SVX cam for a Hoyt, so it makes the cam more aggressive, and moving it up here makes the cam softer. So you can change the brace height in or out, you can change the grip left or right to change torque, you can change the let off, you can change the draw length. This is set on 55, it's got a roller cable guard, and I've said before, it's kind of strange it's the wrong way around. I think it should be the other way around, but then if you do make it the other way, you'd have to change the cables. The reason I would have it the other way around is to create more gap here where the cables are pretty much touching. Here, if you moved it the other way, it means you've got to put it on the brake press, you spin it around, and this goes the other way, and you get more gap here in the middle. Look, the bow itself looks alright. It's 1,800 Australian dollars. The freight cost me 175 to get in by slow ship. And when I say slow ship, I think the ship went around the world 3 times before it hit Adelaide. Because it literally took that long to get here. Sometimes it's quick. My shipment coming in this Wednesday was 3 weeks from Netherlands to Australia. 3 weeks. It's crazy. By boat, 3 weeks. I'm like, I have air shipments which are slower than that, and some of the companies shipping the items take more than 3 weeks to pack the items, which is crazy. So my air shipment I'm still waiting on. I've been waiting on it for 3 weeks for them to pack it. Meanwhile, the sea shipment's in Australia, so I'm like, maybe I'll just have everything come in by sea from now on because it's so fast. Anyway, Gearhead produced all different grips for the risers that you can bolt on. That's pretty cool. It's a smaller American company. It's a bit unique as far as the design and the way it feels and looks. But I think it's a very clever company. It's very different. In the archery industry today, you see a lot of the same. So you see a lot of the cams are the same, and you see a lot of the same ideas coming back around. Now this is a binary cam system. This cam something like this cam is on a lot of bows. So it's on bows like Bowtech, it's on bows like Elite, it's on bows like PSC, it's on bows now like Hoyt. It's a very common cam system with rotating modules, which make life pretty easy for the consumer. So we're going to shoot this bow at 55 pounds. We'll try and shoot it through Chronograph, and we'll see how we shoot with it at 18 meters indoors, because today it's terrible outdoors. It's like blowing a gale, and it's windy, and it's cold, and it's raining, and I'm meant to shoot a competition tomorrow. I don't want to shoot in this weather. So I might be not turning up for the competition. Anyway, let's shoot this bow and see how it feels. Okay, so the B34 versus the B36. The B36 has got smaller cams, it's got bigger cams. Big cams should be smoother to pull back, and it should be a bit quicker. So this is 55 pounds. I should draw this back easy because I'm really strong these days. Unless it's the latest bow from a company I'm not going to name, and then 60 pounds I struggled with. Which makes no sense because I'm shooting 55 pound recurve for target archery. So I should be able to draw it back all the time, but I struggled. Okay, so we're going to try drawing it. So here, that's kind of interesting. So here it's solid, then it feels easier, then it feels hard. Feels hard. Oh, then it drops in. Oh god. This draw length is massive. We're going to take the shot. Now I know no one shot this bow. I know no one shot it. But that ain't no 29 inches. Now, the thing with the draw length that's too long for you happens in all my videos. When the draw length's too long, it's worse than being too short. If it's too short, you can just bend your front arm and you can kind of get away with it a bit. You don't want the bow to be like that when you're shooting. And I was like shooting the other day with a person and their arm was bent like that. I'm like, God, I hope our shop didn't set that up. No, we didn't. But I thought that. I was like, geez, I hope our shop didn't set that bow up. But no, it was the other shop. And the draw length was like this. Now, that is way too short, right? Like, they're not going to have any success with that. But that's okay. That's okay. That's probably too long. So probably around there is probably okay, right? So that's too short. But if it's too long, it means you're like that. So you're hyperextending this arm out. And back here, and your back's not working properly. Nothing's working properly, and it's all rubbish. So that shot actually hit my arm. And I don't normally hit my arm. That shot hit my arm. So basically nothing was right with the shot. Now what we're going to do is we're going to shorten this down. So that's going to be an experience for me. Now it's currently set on 6. So it's currently set on 6, but here the draw stops on a what looks like a 9. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the Gearhead manual, look at it, I don't know what I'm doing, and see what it says, and then I'm going to come back and tell you what the manual says, and then we're going to adjust this so it's right for me. Now the other problem with the draw length being too long, it makes it hard to draw back, so I found that quite difficult. I found the B36 very, very easy. I was like, this is nothing. If the bow's peaking here, it's okay. But when it starts peaking back here, where you'd expect the valley, your muscles are going to basically struggle because there's nothing else here. Your muscles are already worked. So you don't want it peaking too late. So we'll adjust this and then we'll get back and have another go at this. Okay, so I've adjusted the Gearhead and we're going to try it. So I don't know what draw length it's set to, but we're going to try it, but I'm going to tell you what I did. So there's 3 screws on here, which I really like. 3 screws is better than 2 screws. There's lots of bow companies with 2 screws. 3 screws is better because it holds the module in place better. So you get less cam slippage and things. There's a pin in the module, which is great because it makes it really precise with the adjustments. Some have got rotating modules that just slip into place and you're like, well, have I got that set the same top and bottom? This is very good. I really like the module on the Gearhead because it's got two edges. So the strings actually sits on the edges and not on the edge of the cam. Really like that. I really like the big edge here on the edge of the stop. So it can't slide off the edge. Really like that. So I tried to look up charts for adjusting the draw length to know what letter is what draw length and to know what letter on the side is what thing. I couldn't find any, so I don't know if they exist or what. It might be because there's so much adjustment on the Gearhead, it makes it hard to do because you can change the brace height. Obviously, moving the grip forward or back, it changes the draw length. Okay? The latest thing on Hoyt gives you different grips to clip in to change the draw length. Well, Gearhead, you can actually move the grip in or out, which I really like. I like the ability to have lots of adjustment, although lots of adjustment can do in your head. Just bear that in mind, lots of archers will do their head in with adjustment. Anyway, so I've shortened it down 1/2 inch here. I've just moved the cam position, the draw stop, 1 position back. I don't know if that's enough or it's too much. I don't know. We're going to try it. Now with the old Elites, if you didn't have the draw stop fitted, you got 100% let off. So people would draw it back, get 100% let off, so they weren't holding anything and they couldn't let the bow down. So they pull back a bow 80 pounds and they're holding nothing, so the string just goes slack. And at that stage, you panic. And if you haven't panicked before, you haven't been an archer, because I tell you, when you see people with 100% let off and the bow's fully drawn and they don't know what to do and they like, because you can't let the thing down because the string's got no tension on it, and you put in the bow press like this, it's scary as. Now this has got cable stops, so it should be okay. It shouldn't have that. But when you make the adjustment, you just try it. Now I draw back the bow with an arrow with my release head close to the target. A lot of people would just draw it back with their fingers without an arrow, and that's a good way to blow up your bow, because if something happens, you're going to blow up your bow, right? So we'll see how this goes. So I've shortened it, I think, 1/2 inch. So this is a spot stop. So I've moved it this way. So it's going to hit the cam quicker, which is shortening the draw length. So I hope they've shortened it by about 1/2 inch. I don't know what let off I'm going to get. I've moved the let off shorter, so oh, it feels different already. It feels much easier. There, now it feels like 90%. Now that feels much better. I didn't hit my hand. Now I'm feeling I've got about 90% let off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this. So I'm going to say when it comes to adjusting bows and rotating the modules, rotating modules is the best. Okay, it's not like you've got to go and buy a module for the thing, try it, and then go, oh, I want 75% let off. Now I'm going to go and buy a 75% module. That stuff's rubbish. Right, it's just rubbish, because then you got to ring people. Sue's got a 75% module at 29 inches. You buy it and you're like, no, I really want 28.5 at 75. You get it and you're like, oh, I really want to try 65. Each one of those is costing you $100. It's just rubbish. This is a good system. Many people use it. I'm going to say the Gearhead is one of the better systems I've used. Okay, so the Elite system's pretty cool because it's got a cable stop and a little string stop. I really like the Elite system. Bowtech's pretty good because you can flip the module to change it from performance to soft setting. I really like that. But this is simple. This is such a big stop. It's just, it's really good. So I'm going to move these forward a little bit so I don't get so much let off, and I just want to shorten that draw length down a little bit. So I'm going to move this just forward a little bit. There's 2 lots of holes here, so that'd be for the minor adjustment. So when you want to make a little adjustment, now you can do it in grip as well. But look, I like that, and like if it was me shooting this bow, I would probably shorten the brace height. Probably lengthen the brace height, because in the past I found I get less twitchiness. Although in the video I shot where I shot the little short Gearhead, I shot incredibly well with it. With the short brace height and everything, and I just shot like lights out with it, so it was crazy. And I will do a video where I change the brace height and compare the brace height both ways. But I just want to do videos on the Gearhead bows to get a feel for them first, because it educates me and hopefully it educates you how they are and how they feel. I really like that draw cycle. The first time I was like, oh, it's pretty hard, which was surprising because I thought it'd be easier than the 36 given the size of the cams. But this feels like here, it feels much better now. Much more consistent. Valley, big valley. So I want to shorten down that valley. And the draw stops are solid because it's a limb stop. I thought I aimed at a different spot and crushed my arrows. I thought I aimed at a different spot, but anyway. Look, it feels good. There's no vibration after the shot. I think it's pretty quiet. I have stood to the side when people shoot these things and they're really, really quiet. Now look, let's talk about the price point on these, if I haven't already. 1800, I had a customer like asking about price points on these, and I looked up prices in American dollars before, and the prices were varied a little bit, but it's about $1,074 American for one of these, the B34. So then I convert it to Australian dollars, which the Australian dollar is 66 cents at the moment compared to the US dollar, so I divide by 66 cents. That comes out at about $1,700 Australian dollars. We have 10% GST, so I times by GST, and it came in around $1,800, right? And that's what we sell the thing for. So this guy's on the phone, he's like, well, I can buy this cheaper in America, blah, blah, blah. Well, I don't know how you do that because I just did the calculation. That's not including freight, it's not including customs entry fees. If you import one of these from America, you're going to have the GST because the GST is 10% on anything over $1,000 coming in, and then you've got to pay customs clearance fees, which is going to be a couple $100. And you've got freight. So freighting these in by air was going to cost me about $400 or $500 a bow. I brought them in by sea, it cost me $175 a bow. So I haven't allowed for that, but basically without freight, without customs fees and all that sort of stuff, 1800 and we're 1800. So we're about on the ballpark where you'd want to be. Now, can you buy this bow cheaper from me than off the States? Because if you buy it off me rather than in the States, you're going to save the 10% GST. So, but you've got the freight into America. So it's a ballpark number. Now, lots of bows I've reviewed were significantly cheaper in Australia than in American dollars. So on Hoyts, on Matthews, I think on some PSEs, it's significantly better to buy bows in Australia than in the US. So you might as well buy them in Australia and ship them into the US because something's going on, something's crazy with the pricing. Either the Americans are making too much, or the Australians are making too less, or there's different pricing structures around the world. But this is about right, okay? It's about where it needs to be. At about 1800, it's priced about the same as your top-of-the-line Elites, your top-of-the-line Bowtechs, your top-of-the-line PSEs, and I'm talking hunting bows, not their shoot-through risers that this is. So this bow has to shoot like a top-of-the-line bow, it's got to shoot like a top-of-the-line Hoyt, it's got to shoot like a top-of-the-line Elite, it's got to shoot like a top-of-the-line PSE, top-of-the-line Elite. But it's a shoot-through riser that you can adjust the grip to change the brace height, which those other bows don't have. And it's a little bit unique. It's a little bit unique because there's not many of them. So the question is, how does it shoot? How does it compare? And this is very interesting for me because the other bows, like whether you choose a Bowtech, a Hoyt, a PSE, or an Elite, look, they're all pretty similar and they're all pretty good. Question is, I think Elite is really good, and people are going to say you've gone away from PSE. I just think the adjustability is cool. All the adjustability. This bow's got lots of adjustability. I like the fact that the limbs are rubberized. It just seems like it looks pretty good to me. So I'm going to reduce the let off to make more holding weight because that's about 90% at the moment, and I want less, and I want a little bit shorter. Okay, so I've adjusted the draw length on the stops. I've just moved those one little peg forward, so we'll get a feel for that. Now, when you're making these changes, make them small and sort of see how they feel, and then shoot for a while. Shoot for a while and see how it goes, and then just make a little adjustment, like move them forward or back, and then shoot for a while and see how they go. And when I say see how they go, see if you shoot better or see if you shoot worse. You might shoot exactly the same. Now to me that felt a lot better. Didn't drop into the big 90%. It probably feels like maybe 75%. It felt much, much better. Still feels too long in the draw length. So I'll just have another shot. On my first, whenever I draw back by the first time, I'm always like, ooh, did I do everything right? Is the... Look, I'm happy with that. I'm happy with the draw length. I might go like that much smaller. But look, I'm happy with that. So let's shoot some arrows. Now, it's pouring outside. So we're going to try and get the chronograph to work inside. So hopefully we can get, hopefully it works. And then we're going to shoot 18 meters. Okay, so we've tried the Gearhead through the chronograph with gold tip velocity arrows, which weigh 326 feet, which weigh 326 grains, 327 grains. They're 27 inches long, they're 400 spine, 90 grain points. They shoot 305, which is pretty quick. Very surprisingly quick. Because the bow's 55 pounds and it's roughly 29 inches. Now these are VAP arrows. And we're inside, but there's a skylight over there, so it kind of works. .282. Now my VAPs are 350s. They have 140 grain points on them. I don't remember how much they weigh, but that's pretty quick. Now this is a 337 feet per second bow. It's pretty quick. I said that. Because all the bows I test are 60 pounds. This is 5 pounds less. So 5 pounds is worth a bit of feet per second. So if I reckon if this went up to, you know, another 5 pounds, I reckon it's got to be worth another 10 feet per second, which then puts this bow at a very respectable speed. And it doesn't feel fast to shoot. It's definitely not hard to draw back. It's very easy to shoot. So with that, we're going to shoot at 18 meters and see how well we shoot. Okay, so I'm at 18 meters. I've shot 2 arrows. I'm using a toe point micro adjustable sight. Normally I just use a cheap one. The thing that's really good about a micro adjustable sight is when you want to make those changes where you want to move the sight. So you can see I've shot 2 arrows in the target already, or 2 arrow holes, and the last one hit the 10. It's just like loosen and like click, 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 and then it goes in the middle. Where the other one you nudge it and then lock it, nudge it, lock it. So this is a lot quicker and easier. Like they're about $50 for a micro adjustable sight. The pins are a little bit better than the $30 sights. You're not going to shoot any better, just setup time's less. So let's hope that wasn't just a lucky shot, the one in the 10. I'm liking the draw cycle after shooting 2 shots. Feels quite good. I think with the first Gearhead, I felt a little bit of the wobble, but the gripping was amazing. I think I'll shoot quite well with this. I like the grip, and I think I might even like it better than the B36 grip. It feels really comfortable to me, so... Now it's... I can't blame the wind because I'm indoors. I haven't shot much compound lately, but I did feel a little bit of movement. As far as with the sight pin, I'm hoping it went in the middle. So the sight pin did move. Sometimes it's steady, and sometimes it's smooth. So that's clearly me, right? So when people like blame stuff, like it's me, I just need to shoot more. But we'll see how the groups go. Well, that wasn't... I'm hoping that went in the middle. Just can't see. That felt better. The sight pin was a lot more steady. The draw length feels too long for me. I'd like it a little bit shorter because I'd feel like this arm feels fully extended. I think I'd be a little bit more stable if I was a little bit shorter. So I would just either move the draw stops down another half an inch, or move the limb stops down another little notch, just a little bit, because it feels like I'm too extended. Like, it's not bad. And I'm going to say before, look, I've shot 2 PSE bows, a PSE Perform and I had a PSE Perform. Both the same bow. I had one set on 28.5 and one set on 29 inches. So my draw length is clearly somewhere in that range. They both felt comfortable to me. I just didn't realize until I physically looked at their module position. They were both different positions. Look, the sight pins on this are a lot finer, so they're 0.19, where I think I normally shoot a 0.229, I think. So with the narrower pins, so with the smaller pins, it looks like you've got more movement on the target. You really don't. So, like, if you're shooting a scope in a high magnification, it looks like you move more. If your dot is covering the gold, it looks like you move less. So you'll see a lot of the top shooters will shoot a big pin size or a big dot on their scope. That's when they look like they're moving less. You're actually not. You're moving the same. It just looks like it, so you get less panic in yourself. So often I will shoot larger scopes. But if you're shooting long distance, you might prefer narrower because the target becomes so small. And if you use a big pin or a big dot, like if you're using a big dot, at long distance, it covers too much of the target. So it's just something you've got to experiment with and see what you feel comfortable with. Okay, so I'm going to guess. The draw length on the brace on this bow varies from 5 1/4 to 7 inches. It's not set on 7 inches, so I'm guessing it's about 6 inches or 6.5 inches. The amount of vibration I'm seeing in my sight picture, in my sight window, that's just from my hand moving around. It kind of feels more like a 6-inch brace height with the amount of pin movement. But I don't think it's actually too bad. That shot felt pretty stable. People that go in the red. People will say, look, why do you shoot at the same target? Why don't you shoot at separate targets? Because I like to see what the grip looks like as far as like how tight it is. Where if I shoot at different targets, it doesn't really give me an indication about the grip and how well I'm shooting. And sometimes, like if a bow doesn't feel that comfortable for you to start with, it will later on, because you just got to get used to it. You got to get used to that bow. So sometimes you grow into the bow. I'll just shoot one more. So I have no peep sight on this. Sometimes that's getting in the way, so I'm going to try and just move that out of the way. Look, the peep sight just makes everything more aligned, so less likely you're going to be high or low on your face. Look, it doesn't... I feel like I can see the wobble, but it doesn't feel that bad. But I'd move the grip forward, definitely, to make it more stable. But then people are going to say, well, for hunting you want more speed, so move the grip back. And this is stuff you'd experiment with, because you'd say, look, my average shot if I'm hunting is 30 meters. I want to have this sort of level of accuracy and this sort of level of speed. And that way you can kind of work out what you're doing, if that makes sense. But for me, I'm mainly a target archer, so I definitely move that grip forward to give me more stability. And that's what I experiment with. I'd move the grip forward and see what my scores are. And I wouldn't just shoot one score, I'd shoot lots of scores. And then move the grip back and I'd see what the difference is. But with this, I'd move this draw stop first because I feel like the draw length's a little bit too long for me. But I'm just going to fire one more. After I shoot the shot, I don't feel any of that, which you often feel. It feels very solid. Feels very quiet. Don't feel any vibration with it. Feels good to shoot. So how does it compare against the other top of the line bows? Look, a lot of the bows are great these days. They're amazing. So if you grab the top of the line, whatever bow, it's going to be amazing. It's really going to be amazing. And I don't think this bow's really that much. When I say that much different, it's clearly a different bow, but it's still a very good bow. So the thing about the Gearhead, go harp on the same thing. The adjustability is really good. The grip, the fact that you can move the grip backwards and forwards, really good and unique. It feels good. The draw cycle feels good. The vibration's good. The noise is good. Price point, look, it's about the same as the other bows. So I'm like, you're not buying it because it's cheaper, and you're not being put off because it's too expensive. You could argue it's too cheap. You could argue it's too cheap because it's a shoot-through riser and it's fancier than the other bows. You could argue the limbs because they do more work on the limbs. You could argue you got more adjustability with the stabilizers and all that. So, and then there's other people who say, well, it should be cheaper to sell more. And clearly you would sell more if it was cheaper. But I think the price point's about right. It's about where it needs to be. It's comparable to all the top-of-the-line bows. And then you've got to go, well, how does this feel? How's the draw feel? How's the speed? How's everything feel? Is it a bow that I would consider one of the top 3 or 4 bows at the elite level? So, for a 34-inch bow, if I'm after a 34-inch bow, is this one of the bows I would consider? Let's go down and look at the group. Okay, so, well, I shot the B36 before. Yeah, that group there, the high ones, is pretty good. Overall, I can't get my fingers around the whole group, and I'm going to say my grouping with the B36 was better. I'm going to say I prefer the B34 to the B36, which might sound really weird. I feel like I prefer the grip on the B34 than the 36, which is more of a pistol grip. It just feels quite comfortable in the hand there. It feels very repeatable. The shot feels very repeatable on the B34. Now, while the grouping was better on the B36 I shot than the B34, I feel like that comes to draw length. I feel like this bow's too long for me, and I feel like that's affecting this. Left and right's pretty good. Just a couple of high ones, which is probably me locking in here, and it's probably just varying here on my face position that I'm locking in high. But if I was a bit shorter, it'd be under here. I feel like that would be better and more consistent. So overall, the vibration is excellent, adjustability excellent. The weight of the bow's good, as far as it's not too heavy and it's not too light. It's just right. The adjustability, the fact that we can put the stabilizers in different positions, the draw length adjustability is as good as anything on the market. The ability you can switch to left to right-handed is obviously unique and cool. The ability to be able to change grips is cool. The ability to be able to change brace heights is cool. it's pretty good. It's pretty good. Now, this group, 18 meters, look, it's not too bad. Three arrows high, the rest you can get your hand around. It's pretty good. Pretty good. Would I buy a B34? Yes. Yes, I would. Compared to all the other bows on the market, which I'm not being fair or mean, look, the other bows are amazing. The reason I'm going to buy a B34 or a Gearhead bow is all that adjustability. I can move the grip forward or back. I can change stuff, and I think it's cool. I think it's different. You know, when I buy I've got all the elite bows. Literally, I've got all the elite bows. I own all the PSE bows, right? And you say, well, you own a shop. But I own them all, and I shoot them, and I'm like, I can't tell the difference between the Envision, the Remedy, the Encore, the Result 36, and the Result 38. I can't tell the difference. I shoot them the same, and I've got customers who've got the Envision, the Result 36, and I say, well, what's your score difference? And they say they shoot the same. I'm like, that's what I found. I shoot the same with a hunting bow and a target bow, and the draw feels the same, and it's like, feels the same. I really like the elite Remedy. Love it. But I can't pick the difference between that and the Envision and the Result. So therefore I'm like, well, they're all really good bows, and the Encore, and I'm like, they're all really good bows. I've got people who've got PSE Super Focuses for target archery. They have NXT 33s, they have NXT whatevers. They shoot the same score with them. They're all pretty much the same, and some will argue you have left hand shock on the parallel limbs versus the more upright limbs. But at the end of the day, they shoot about the same scores. There you go. I'm going to go Bowtech. Look, Bowtech make a fantastic bow. It's a really good bow, and I probably don't give them enough airtime, and I need to give them more airtime. I'm well aware of that. However, when I look for bows that I want to own, I think the Gearhead is unique. It's one of those cool bows. You put it up on the wall, and it's cool. It's different. No one else has one. And it's a bit like owning a NIDA from when I was 20, so 30 years on. Now, there are still people wanting those NIDA bows. You don't see them anywhere. They're awesome, they're unique, they're cool. Gearhead to me is that bow company, and what makes it cool is just so much adjustability. It can suit anyone. You can move stuff around. So for me, just speaking out loud, for a Gearhead, I'd like a stabilizer position on the back as well as the front. So I'd like to buy one of those little plates to mount on the back. I'd like to experiment with stabilizer. I'd like to experiment with a full target setup on the B34. Then I'd probably like to experiment with the B36. And I'd be interested in trying the shorter bows as well for like hunting sort of setups. I find it very, like, my mum owns a archery property where they shoot field, so moving from target to target, animal targets and round paper targets. For me, I used to run around the course, running. I'm not very good at running, but I'd run around the course and sort of shoot it quickly and just have a bow quiver and bang, shoot the arrow, run to the next target, try and keep fit. Gearhead to me would be a perfect bow for that. It's just like, it's just compact, and I can get one of the little ones for running. That'd be cool. Look, I really like it. I think it's a very highly polished product. I can't really find any flaws in it. Besides the cables, which I would swap from left to right and change that crossover. But that's not really a thing. It's not a thing that I'd worry about. And if you're a customer, I probably wouldn't do it. I'd just leave it the way it comes at the factory. But for me, I'd do it because I think it's wrong. Not that I'm anal or stuff, but Gearhead is a very interesting product. It's very interesting because it just allows you to change everything. It allows you to change the torque on the grip left to right. It's pretty cool. I'm Stephen Hand from Archery Supplies. Thanks for watching.